I usually try not to exaggerate about things because I'm Cuban and I know we have a tendency to do so, but honestly, I think Snow White might single-handedly ruin Disney's entire 2025. Hi all, SnarkyJay Cosplay here. We have spent quite a bit of time on this channel talking about, reporting on, complaining about, reacting to everything related to the live-action Snow White, which is now releasing March 21st, 2025. So as of the time of this video's recording, we're actually less than 3 months away from getting to witness this much anticipated f***ing disaster. I was sitting thinking about this, ruminating on ideas as I'm so prone to do. And I genuinely, in analyzing different trends when it comes to film and what Disney has been doing, I really think that Snow White, which is definitely going to bomb, and I'll explain why, coming out in March of next year is literally going to set the tone for a terrible year for Disney. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and blame this entire issue on Rachel Zegler, even though I think she's probably like 75% of the problem.
Weird.
But look, when it comes to Disney, we all know that Disney is about two things: money or sending a message, or a third option could be both, but typically if one of these two doesn't coincide with the other, they will typically sacrifice one for the sake of the other. Disney for the past couple of years has been super focused on messaging and agendas, and now they seem to be backtracking on a lot of different stuff so that they can keep making money. But when they were hell-bent on sending messages and pushing agendas and they weren't making any money, well, it was easier just to attack the rest of us for being bigots. Now, in the production of this new agenda vehicle, because that's exactly what this new version of Snow White is, they wouldn't try so hard to push the girl boss angle if they just wanted to remake a beloved classic in a live action format. Disney has far overspent, and it's hard to find accurate numbers for spending for this because it seems like everybody is trying to underreport or overreport, but essentially we already know that by the end of December 2023, Disney had already spent a whopping $269.4 million on this live-action Snow White film. That spending alone actually makes it the most expensive live-action Disney project of all time. Comparable live-action spending includes The Lion King in 2019, which Disney spent a whopping $260 million on, and The Little Mermaid, which production alone cost Disney $250 million, and that's not even including how much they spent trying to market the thing. Now, you might be thinking that, hey, maybe that's not that much money. Disney could totally recoup that, right? Well, in some circumstances, they have. Sure, The Lion King was released in 2019, which makes it a pre-COVID release, but despite the fact that I think making a live-action Lion King is an incredibly stupid f***ing idea, the thing made $1.6 billion worldwide, making it more than enough money to break even and bring in Disney plenty of profit, and encouraged them to make yet another live-action Lion King venture, which was just released last week. And sure, comparing releases pre and post-COVID is pretty hard because the demand for the cinema is not exactly what it used to be, but we're also seeing production overspending and movies making way more than they probably should on account of inflation, and despite those facts, the live-action Little Mermaid last year only scored $569 million, which $500 million doesn't sound like something to sneeze at, but the problem there is that Disney spent so much money on production because it kept blowing past different budgets, and it also spent so much money on advertising it that it actually netted in a $5 million loss for the company. So its last big live-action reimagining literally lost them money, and yet they've moved forward. Now, if we look at what Disney has spent on Snow White, which is most likely even more than $270 million, so let's go ahead and round that off at about $300 million. Let's do the math. If they have to spend half of that spending on advertising, which means they would be spending about $150 million on advertising, then that means that Disney spends almost $500 million, $450 million, which means that the movie has to make more than $500 million to break even. a Snow White live-action remake that has been plagued by disastrous controversy. It's not going to happen. Personally, if I were Disney, I would have shelved the f***ing thing like Warner Brothers did with Batgirl and maybe gotten one hell of a tax break. Why has this been such a disaster? Realistically, filming actually only took place for a few months all the way back in 2022. They started shooting in March of 2022, and by July they were already finished. But then came the reshoots. And why did the reshoots happen? Well, we can't know for sure. But the main thing that almost certainly drove that budget were the 7 deadly sins of this movie. That's right, ladies and gents. The dwarves. See, the dwarves originally were supposed to be people of short stature, real people. And then Peter Dinklage came out with the progressive opinion that this was totally wrong and therefore these jobs should be taken away from these people because he didn't like it. So that's exactly what Disney did. And then they brought in 7 diverse magical people of various backgrounds and everybody thought that was stupid. So then Disney said, shit, well, we better make some more dwarves. And then they left off on this absolutely fucking terrifying Lovecraftian eldritch horror stemming from the bowels of my subconscious nightmares. This is fucking terrifying. I'm 24 years old and I'm freaked the out looking at this. You think somebody's gonna want to take their 5-year-old to go watch this shit? That's terrifying. They look like they shouldn't be allowed within 300 yards of a school. They look like if I checked under my bed, I'm more likely to see one of them than the Babadook. They're fucking horrifying. And there's 7 CGI nightmares that Disney essentially had to reshoot I don't know how much of the fucking movie to include them in. So of course the budget went crazy. So Disney's already up shit's creek without a paddle in regards to money. But then we have Rachel Zegler, who attacks the movie whenever she gets a chance. Weird. And most recently, she also wished for the majority of the population who voted to not have peace in their lives. I can't imagine that many people would listen to somebody talk that much shit and still take Lil Sally to go watch the movie on opening weekend. I feel like that's the kind of thing that most people are gonna go, fuck it, and go on and put the original and make some popcorn for the kiddos to enjoy at home. So okay, we have an incredibly overblown budget with the added bonus of terrifying dwarves. We also have a star who I don't think fits the bill and also continuously talks shit on the internet, thus further poisoning the well of this already doomed film. And then, last but not least, the film itself. See, not only is the film already going to be burdened by Gal Gadot's lackluster acting abilities, and I'm sure the comments are gonna come at me about how obviously jealous I am. Yes, she's absolutely beautiful. I'm a lowly plebe. It really doesn't take beauty to understand that I think she delivers wooden performances in every film I've ever seen her in. Therefore, I don't know that she has the acting chops to play the evil queen. So the film is burdened by weak acting abilities. It's also crippled by strange CGI. But the mirror on the wall has let me know that the most egregious error of them all is Disney trying to turn a beloved, romantic, beautiful classic into a modern-day remake with a girl boss spin. See, the existence of Disney princesses is not empowerment by any means, and quite frankly, I think continuously trying to tell young ladies, women, little girls, that the only way to be worthwhile is to be somebody seeking power, putting brooms in the hands of the dwarves whose homes you just invaded, and making them clean up after themselves after they've shown you hospitality. Being a woman and giving love and kindness is not a sign of weakness, that is actually a sign of strength. And I know I've brought up this point in other videos before, but one of my favorite quotes of all time was Peter Cullen, the voice of Optimus Prime in Transformers. He said that his inspiration for the character was that you have to be strong enough to be gentle. And I think that that's what Disney is missing here. Instead of continuously pushing the ideas that these Disney princesses have had it wrong all along, that in showing love for a man or animals or wanting to do a kind act and cleaning up for the people that have taken you in, somehow that's wrong and demeaning for a woman to do. And quite frankly, I find it far more demeaning that Disney would take it upon themselves with every film to tell young ladies that the only way you're worth anything as an individual is to seek power and step on the men, women, children, animals, babies, dwarves, and everything else around you. That is the only way to be a woman worth telling stories about. Quite frankly, I think Disney has lost the fucking plot. I think sometimes we need a little whimsy. We need a little kindness, a little love, and sometimes that's exactly what you find in a Disney princess story. Do yourself a favor and go back and watch the original Snow White, and you'll find all those lovely traits mixed with beautiful classic traditional animation, wonderful music, and a story that has a good message at the end, which I can say is far more than this modern day live action retelling will ever have. And that's all from me. I've been SnarkyJay. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. For more SnarkyJay, be sure to check me out on Instagram, and if you'd like to support me, this channel, and my content creation, do check out and consider subscribing to my Patreon for exclusive photoshoot sets and cosplay content. I'll add links to all of those in the description below. And let me know your thoughts on what's gonna happen with the live action Snow White remake in the comments below.